Hello and welcome to Focus Poetry with Miss Chavez. Today we're going to be looking at the poem Riddle by Patricia Hubble. So when I look at this, you know what we do. We name the title, we name the poet, we look to see how many stanzas we have. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, but something's going on with stanza 5. That's not written normal. I can't wait to read it to find out why. So let's look at our lines. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 lines. So let's read it. Riddle by Patricia Hubble. Who dances lightly through the world in slippers mossy green, who covers trees with tiny leaves where birds can hide unseen, who brings the flowers, who brings the showers, who brings the butterflies. Of course, you know the answer. That zingy, wingy, singy, flingy, swingy season, spring. So, all of these, let me skip down to stanza 5 because I'm very curious about stanza 5. That zingy, wingy, singy, flingy, swingy season, spring. All of these lines right here are all adjectives that describe spring. That's a lot of adjectives to use at once. Normally, we don't see that many. So let's look at stanza 1. Who dances lightly through the world in slippers mossy green. So it's a riddle. So we're trying to figure out the answer. A riddle is kind of like a word puzzle where you're trying to figure out what they're talking about. So some of the hints that we get to find out that our answer is spring. Slippers of mossy green. That right there to me means that the moss is starting to grow around the trees and around the area because it says slippers in mossy green who dances lightly through the world in slippers mossy green. So moss is beginning to grow. So moss grows. Okay. Who covers trees with tiny leaves where birds can hide unseen. What time of year do you have new little leaves that pop out? Of course, spring. So I have new growth on trees. Who brings flowers, who brings showers, who brings butterflies? Well, isn't it in the spring when the flowers start to bloom? You get a lot of rain and a lot of butterflies that come out. So all of this hint to spring. So all of these begin in springtime. So flowers, some flowers grow all year round, but we see most of the flowers in the spring. Showers. Have you ever heard of April showers, spring May flowers? So usually spring starts in about March. April is really when it starts to get rainy, and then that rain turns into the flowers. So April showers, spring May flowers. And you begin to see the chrysalis begin to burst open so the butterflies can come out. And that all begins in the spring. Of course, you know the answer. There's our answer, is spring. So I'm getting clues all throughout the stanzas to find out that the answer to my riddle is actually spring. And I used that with inferencing skills because I had to infer, I had to think, what would all these clues bring me? Spring. All right. Good job on that. Let's take a look real quick um, at some R control vowels, because we've been talking in phonics about the R sound, like a pirate. So I want to look at some bossy R's, some R controlled words. So if I look, I'm going to look for R words, but those words that have an R have to have a vowel with it because the vowel is controlled by the R. That's why I call it a bossy R, because the R is bossy that vowel around, that A, E, I, O, and U, to say, you're not going to say your name. You're going to say it with me. They kind of have to go together. So let me show you what I'm talking about. In the word world, W-O-R-L-D, do you hear that O? World. I don't either. So that R right there is kind of bossy to that O and says, you're going to work with me. I'm not really going to hear you. You're going to hear the R. So world. You don't hear the O. So let's look in line 2. In slippers, mossy green. Slippers, E-R, you don't hear that E, but you have E-R. But what about this R? Is there a vowel before it? No, you're right. That's a consonant. So that consonant is not going to help with the R. The R is not going to be able to boss around the consonant, only the vowel. So that's not a bossy R. So let's look at stanza 2, line 3. Who covers trees with tiny leaves. Covers, there's another ER. I don't hear the E, but I do definitely hear the R. With leaves of tiny green, with tiny leaves, excuse me. Let's look at line 4. Where birds can hide unseen. No, I'm not gonna hear, I hear that E. So that's not really a bossy R. And that's because this E right here is kind of helping it out and making it say its name. But in birds, I do hear just the R. So that's a bossy R right there. Who brings the flowers? Can you find the bossy R there? You're right. It's in flowers. It's the ER. It's not here because a B is in front, and that's not a vowel. Who brings the showers? You're right. The ER right there. Who brings the butterflies? Ooh, that's a tricky one. Usually we've been finding it at the end. Sometimes we find the bossy R in the middle of the word. But look at this, butterflies. Butter, I don't hear it. That E, so right there is my bossy R. It's in the middle of that word. Of course you know the answer. There you go, I only hear the R sound. And that zingy, wingy, singy, flingy, swingy, season, spring. There's the R again, but there's no vowel in front of it. So those are our bossy R's. I would love to see you come back tomorrow and let's talk some more about the poem riddle. Thanks. See ya.